Good morning. Okay, I want to show you today's business vocabulary and business English. It's from an article from Reuters and it's about La Bolsa, the stock market in the United States and around the world. So the vocabulary is interesting and the topic is for business English. So if I share the screen, you can see the article on the left. So similar structure from the previous days, the similar routine. At the bottom, you have my notes for writing. Okay, so I have my notes here to write, and on the left, I have word reference if we need to look for some vocabulary. So the title is the shares, acciones, soar, es como volar, fly to record highs, alturas, on global recovery hopes. Okay, and it's from today and this morning at 2 hours ago, hace 2 horas. Okay, so this is the article. I will show you in total the full text. So they recommend to read for 5 minutes, and we're nearly at the bottom, just to give you an idea of the work. And that's the end, that's the bottom. Okay, so you can see the full article here, and it's available at the link at the top if you want to check on Reuters. But like always, I have my notes here, so this is the same text and I have identified the key vocabulary. Okay, so the shares de nuevo are acciones. Soar is como volar, it's typical for the bird. If the bird is soaring, it's como volar, fly, very, very high. Okay, so to soar is fly, but very, very high. Okay, so it's good vocabulary, very colorful, very descriptive. To record highs, alturas, on is in relation to global recovery. So the alturas are in relation to the global recovery hopes, esperanzas. Okay, global shares rallied. Okay, so this verb is very important. To rally is like to motivate, and the past is rallied. It's like to motivate, typical for the politics. If the politician rally the people, it's like animar, encourage. And in the military, it's the same. To rally the troops is to motivate and to encourage the troops. But in this situation, it's for the stock market, and it's like recover and very positive and alto también, very high. Okay, so the shares rallied, recovery, animated, very good, with Japan's Nikkei hitting golpear, el verbo golpear en el gerundio. A 3-decade peak. In Espanol, it's pico, so very, very similar as well. Peak of the mountain, peak of your career, peak of your life. While the treasuries extended their steepest sell-off. Okay, so the verb to sell is vender, and sell off is usually vender, casi vender todo. When you sell everything or when you sell a lot at the one time, that's a sell off. Okay, so off is like fuera, and it's a phrasal verb, a little difficult. But steep is the word I want to concentrate on. Steep is a very good adjective. And the vocabulary is very important. Just to be sure, I'm going to translate specifically for you so you can see. It's typical with the cliff. I don't know if you know the cliff. It's very steep. Inclinado, perfect. That's the typical translation. Inclinado, so very, very steep. For the cliff, in Ireland, we have the cliffs of Moher. And also for the stock markets or for the price, it could be very steep, inclinado. Okay, so to look beyond is como mirar más allá. Beyond is más allá, very important. Rise is a very important verb in English, to increase. And rose is the past. And here's the gerundio, rising. So the cases are increasing. Rise, so it's a very important verb, typical el sol. The sun rises, or the price, el precio, rises also. Okay, and here the number of cases are rising. Unrest, so the positivo is rest, like calm, but the negative is unrest, so it's like chaos. If it's a substantivo, political unrest, political chaos. So calm, the opposite of calm. In the United States, the focus on, that's the preposition, always enfocar en. In Espanol, it's enfocar en. In English, it's focus on, siempre. Focus on hopes for an economic recuperation. later in the year. Okay, so the second page, opened up. So obviously down is negative in the financial situation and up is positive. So it's an increase as well. So the stock has opened up 0.7%. And the German industrial output is like rendimiento, production. I think production is the best translation. The output, poner, fuera, output, the production. Export rose. So the verb again to rise, very common in English and in business, and the past is rose, increased. The future is also pointed apuntar a. Cheery is very muy feliz, muy positivo. It's typical for a person. If the person is very cheery, they're very happy, they're very positive. And here it's in relation to the financial abrir, to open, very positive, very happy, okay? Rising, again, the same verb, 0.5%. Again, upbeat is a synonym of cheery. So beat is latido, and latido alto is very positivo. It's very positive, it's very cheery, and it's very good. So the mood, this environment, the feeling was very positive. Hit golpear in a positive sense. Alturas, hit como alcanzar, similar to reach, record highs on Thursdays. Mientras, while prices fell, caer in Espanol, the past irregular. So the verb is to fall, caer, and the past irregular is fell. So irregular, past. Okay, as markets bet, apuestar, so the verb is to bet, and in Espanol it's apuestar. I think specifically, so just to get the spelling right, I will find it here for you. To bet is apuesta, is the substantivo, and apuesta, apostar. Okay, so it's irregular, sorry. It was a good idea to look for the translation for sure. So here it's, apuesta, markets bet, a new democratic controlled, and it's the verbo. Government would lead to, so the verb to lead is liderar, very important in English, to lead, and the past is led, irregular. So led to, so this is would lead, it's the infinitive. Heavy, pesado, heavy spending, and borrowing. Okay, so to borrow is dar un prestar. So borrow, specifically, because you need to be clear between to lend and to borrow. Pedir prestado, okay? So in English, there's two verbs, to lend and to borrow, and they are the opposites. So for example, I have a book and I want to lend my book to my friend. I lend my book to my friend. In that situation, my friend borrows the book from me. Okay, so I lend the book to my friend, but my friend borrows the book from me. So very important, prestar y pedir prestado. So very important difference in English. And here it's similar in business as well, the substantivo borrowing to support the country's economic recovery. Investor are the people, in the plural with the O. Investors were awaiting. Payroll, so the payroll are the information or the pages of information for the company with the worker's salary. Okay, so the payroll is the list of the salaries for the workers, and it's an indication of the economic performance for the country. Okay, due is very important in this situation. It's expected. We say in English the bus, for example, the bus is due in 10 minutes. We are expecting the bus in 10 minutes. Okay, so it's a synonym for expected. Later in the day, to gauge, very, very colorful vocabulary, very advanced. And in Espanol, it's medir, to measure. It's a synonym for to measure, to gauge, very, very good advanced vocabulary. And erratic, I think, is very similar in Espanol. Erratic administration, like chaotic, unpredictable. Looking forward to, a very good expression as well, is como the future con ganas. Esperanza con ganas. So to look, como mirar al futuro con ganas, con motivation, with positivity. Okay, To look for example, this weekend, I am looking forward to the party. I am looking forward to the holiday. It's something positive that you're waiting. Okay, you're waiting for something. And here, wealth is very important in business as well. So in English, the adjective is rich. And a synonym is like wealth as well, substantivo, the noun. So it's a very good word, but a lot of people understand rich, but wealth specifically, I'm going to put here so you're clear, is riqueza. Okay, so very similar to rich, but it's the difference between the adjective and the substantivo. Okay, so the next page. Driving is como conducir, pero el mercado, conducir el mercado adelante, forward, muy positive, moving, mover the market forward. Okay, has to be is como obligation, tener que, ser, and this I think is the pasivo, ser, and then cuidar, tomar cuidado. So that's a difficult structure. It's the obligation has to be, has to, plus the verb to be in the auxiliary with the pasivo. The next structure is very important in English. The pronunciation is relies on, but the verb here is to rely on. And it's very similar to depend on. Depender en, okay? Very, very similar. The adjective is reliable. And like dependable. Okay, so very good in English, and it's typical with the preposition to rely on. The negative is unreliable. So the situation is, the person is unreliable, the bus is unreliable, or the internet is unreliable in the negative. But here it's like depend on. This depends on a rebound, rebotar. Rebound, typical in basketball as well. You shoot in basketball and you have the rebound in football also. Okay. The next one with tracks. So the index, which tracks como seguir, which follows, tracks shares in almost 50 countries, rose. So the verb to rise in the past, again, rose, push. Okay, so push into new territory. The verb to push is empujar. So in this situation, empujar into new space, into new territory, okay? And set is flexible, a bit difficult, but here it means listo in Espanol, preparado, ready, okay? And ready to close out, it's a phrasal verb, but it has the same significance as terminar, okay, to finish. So to close out a deal, close out a deal or a contract is like to finish a contract or confirm, okay? But in this situation, it's to finish, como terminar, its best week since late November. Led the way, so led we have from liderar, so it's the past, led, liderar, led the way, camino. Charging, cargando, 4% higher. Typical for the animal, for the horse, charge is very aggressive, very strong and very fast, okay? So charging 4% higher is moving very, very fast. It's best daily, so cada dia is daily, adjective, daily news, daily information, and showing in this situation is like rendimiento, performance. The daily showing is like the daily performance, okay? Nearly is casi, since is desde, and average is la media. So the share average, la media, and rose again. So you can see very, very common. The verb to rise and the past is rose and the participle is risen. Okay, so I'll write that just so you're sure. To rise, the verb rose and risen, participle. So you can see it's very common in this vocabulary in particular. Booking the trend is probably the most advanced expression in this text. So the verb to book is typical for the horse. So when you have the horse very calm, very stable, but the opposite is book. The horse is como tirar sus pies, to throw his legs, and to book the trend is como disrupt. In English we say rupturar, pero disrupt. Okay, so let me show you here specifically the expression book the trend. I don't know if they have the exact, yes, they have the exact translation here, perfect. Okay, swim against the current, yeah. Okay, so if you have something consistent, and then to book the trend is like cambiar, un gran cambio, a great change. And in this situation in business, it's changing, yeah, it's something different. So nadar contra la corriente, to swim against the current, something different. The blue chip are the most important companies, the technological companies, the blue chip companies, Amazon, Google. But in relation to China, this is the context here. Retreat is como revolver. To retreat is to come back. So if you're in the army or the military and they attack, the opposite is retreat, similar to defend. Okay, so to defend or to retreat. Come down or come back. The benchmark is the nivel. For the index, it's similar to the index. It's the benchmark in finance. Okay, and the ban is the prohibition. The verb in English is to ban, como prohibir. And the substantivo is de ban. Okay, so it's prohibir in the verbo, and the substantivo is the prohibition. Good. So the next page, the announcement. So the verb to announce is important. Anunciar. So anuncios. Los anuncios wiped off. So this is connected. Wiped off. So the verb to wipe is like limpiar. Wipe your eye is like limpiar. In the car, the window in the car, you have to wipe the window. So to wipe away or to wipe off is como eliminate. In this case, with the finance, to eliminate the increase or the gains, to wipe off. Okay. It's also possible to wipe out, and it really means to eliminate. Here it's the same. So they wiped the 5.6 billion off, eliminated the money of the value of their shares. Again, rose despite a pesar de, banning from prohibir in the gerundio. Entities are like negocios, companies. Companies are businesses, comercios. US companies, US businesses, US entities, from investing in, that's the typical preposition, invest in. And waning, that's very difficult as well. Okay, so the verb is to wane, and it's like bajar energía. Yeah, if you're waning in relation to energy, perder energía. Okay, so you're losing your energy, you're waning. You have your coffee in the morning at 10 o'clock, but at 6 o'clock in the afternoon, you are waning. Okay, so you're losing your energy, and this is the same in this context for the presidency. The presidency is losing, it's in the lower energetic days of the presidency. Okay, so casi el terminado, almost the end. Good vocabulary, a bit difficult, but that's the idea of this exercise, to try and learn the new difficult vocabulary. Again, the same, so it's the most common verb here. Rise is the verb, and the pronunciation rose in the past. Gain is como ganar, but it's in the past, gained. Okay, so to gain is like ganar, but be careful because we have to win and to earn. Tres verbos with the significance ganar. Okay, so the past simple gained 1.48%. To push through, again, it's the similar empujar, a través, and in this situation, it's como hacer cambios, to make changes, and to push through the stimulus is like to hacer nuevo reglas, to make new law. Despite, a pesar de, the political unrest, chaos, the political chaos in Washington, D.C. Okay, the next verb is to weigh, and the verb is pesar, but you need to be careful with the substantivo. So the verb is to weigh, and the substantivo is the weight with the T. And here, it's the verb, begun weighing in the gerundio. So in this situation, in this context, it's like considering. You weigh your options, pesar to opciones. So you're considering your options. And in this situation, they're considering removing the president in this sentence. Storm is tormenta, for the weather, you have a storm, but in English, it's the verb here in relation to the building. If you storm the building, it's like attack the building. So the protesters, the demonstration, they enter the building and they storm the building. That's the vocabulary that we use. Okay. Again, way is the verb pesar, but in this situation, it's not consideration. It's more stress and worries, preoccupation. Weighed on bonds. So the risk had the preoccupation on the bonds. The yield is the money or the things that you ganar, similar to ganar. Okay. So if you're the farmer in the granja, in the farm, your yield is the product that you produce, that you obtain. Okay, so it is important. I'm going to put here the substantive. The yield is the money that you earn or that you receive. Okay, scaling is como escalar, the scale from 0 to 10. That's the scale, and it's a verb as well, to scale. Okay, and then here it's the past irregular. So the dollar held onto its gains, ganancios, the money that you win, but the verb is to hold, and the past simple is held, and the preposition is onto. Okay, so the past is held, and onto is the preposition. So hold is como tener, hold onto. It's just the preposition to represent the movement. Okay, and a basket, when you go to the shop, you have the basket, and the translation specifically here is the basket. Okay, the cesta, yeah, canasta, so not exactly the same, so it's important to look for the translation. A basket of currencies. Noise is ruido. Surrounding is similar to sobre, around, very similar to around or about. So the ruido sobre el vacun, the vaccine. So the pronunciation in English is the vaccine. Vaccine, very important. Slightly, so to take a slightly vista, view, como tomar un vista más largo, pero slightly is un poco más largo. Happy, you're slightly happy. Tired, slightly tired. Un poco tired. Okay. And the next one, the final one, is the verb to fall, caer, in the past irregular. So you need to be careful with the irregular verbs. To fall is caer, and the past is fell. Okay, so it's past irregular. Topping, after topping, so that's similar in Spanish as well. The top is the maximum. So the peak, similar to the peak, el pico in Espanol, topping 40,000 for the first time on Thursday. And high demand. So demand, substantivo, is specifically here, we have the verb, demanda. Okay, exigencia. Okay, so it's the high demand. A pullback is like retreat. So you remember the verb to retreat, to come back, and the substantivo is to pull back. Okay, likely is very important, and it has the significance of probable. So likely, it's probable in its recent run-up. Okay, so the run-up is the substantivo, and it's the period of time. The run-up before Christmas. It's the period of time before. So run is Korea, and the run-up is the period of time before the event. Think athletics. When you have in English, the pole vault, when you run up is the period before, or the space before the activity or the action. Okay? To focus on. So that's the preposition again, enfocar en, to focus on. Pledge is very important. We saw yesterday, to pledge is to promise, como prometer. Very important, to promise. And the substantivo is a pledge. So it's a promise, similar to a promise. So Saudi Arabia's promise to deepen. So deep is profundo in the adjetivo, but deepen is the verbo. Okay, to deepen is the verbo. Deep is the adjective, and the verb is to deepen. Okay, so good vocabulary and very interesting. Barrel, I think, is similar in Spanish. Barea. On track is like in the right direction. If you're on track, your life is on track. Everything is on track. It's in the right direction. And track is like pista, on pista, en pista. Okay. Dip is a good vocabulary, como caer, to dip. Dipear, I think in Espanol, con churros, chocolate con churros, and you dip. So dipear is como caer in relation to finance, in relation to price and money. And here the gold, oro, fell, caer, dipped. Per ounce is the medida, the measurement, okay? And specifically ounce, so you're clear, is onza, so similar as well, the onza. And yields the return, firmed. Okay, so firm is very strong. Dar un mano, to shake the hand. You can have a firm handshake, a very strong handshake. Okay, so that's a good article for business. I recommend that you review all the vocabulary and review the video. And yeah, some difficult vocabulary, but it's very specific for business, and it's very, very appropriate and very good vocabulary. I hope that you enjoyed it, and if you have any questions, you can put them in the video, and hopefully talk to you soon. And thank you very much, and enjoy your day.